I don't know if y'all can see this, but it is freaking snowing outside. In the middle of freaking April, it is snowing. What the hell is going on? So I had originally planned on changing up the way that I kind of vlog today. And I was gonna go around outside. It was a decent day outside, but yeah, it's a little bit too cold for me to be outside moving around and whatnot. So I decided I'm gonna change the format a little bit and go over some things with y'all. So one of the questions that I'm most frequently asked is, why did I quit fighting? And I figured today would be probably the best day to film and record this video, being as though it's a Wednesday, it's my busier day. I do a lot of private lessons, I teach a lot of classes, and pretty much every video I've showed you my training and my eating and all the different things that I do throughout the day. So to kind of change it up, I think today is the perfect day to explain why I quit fighting. Now, to break this down, I think it's best that I do this in 3 parts. Part number 1 being, why did I initially quit fighting? Part number 2 of why I never came back to fighting. And part number 3, if I will ever fight again. So part 1, why did I quit fighting? This one's a little bit difficult to answer because there's multiple reasons as to why I quit fighting. You see, when I first got into fighting, it was real easy. I was very, very passionate about it. I was very passionate about competing, and I was very passionate about training and everything that came with it. I truly enjoyed learning new things and training every day, showing up every day, and on multiple occasions being the only person that showed up to train. So I really enjoyed training and all the different aspects of fighting. And one thing that made it really easy for me to start fighting was the fact that nobody thought I could do it. I pretty much trained in silence. Nobody really saw much of me training besides myself and my training partners, my coaches. But as far as family and friends, nobody ever really watched me train or saw me train. So nobody saw any improvements that I had made. And in turn, nobody thought that I could do it, and nobody thought that I would be able to accomplish anything in fighting. And for some reason, that made it more enjoyable. Following my first fight, they wrote an article in the newspaper about me, and it seemed like everybody started coming out kind of the woodworks. People that I didn't even really know or associate with came out and started showing their support and other things like that. And that was one thing that I really didn't enjoy following that first fight, was people who weren't there pretending that they were and pretending that they cared about myself and my career. However, this did put on some added pressure. When nobody believes that you can do anything, really the only place to go is up. Now all of a sudden I have a fan base and I have people who believe that I can do it, and people just getting way ahead of themselves as far as my career goes. I was still just trying to perform and be exciting and still trying to grow and learn as a person. So there was a lot of added pressure that came from friends, came from family. The promoter who was putting on our fights had a lot of added pressure to it, and it really made me kind of fall out of love with what I was there for, which was like the pure passion of competition and fighting in general. After my second fight, I pretty much knew that I was done with fighting. My last fight was just a horrible performance, and it wasn't that I wasn't ready physically. I trained hard and I got really, really ready for that fight. My conditioning was on point and I trained very hard. However, mentally I just wasn't there. I wasn't checked in, and I had allowed that pressure to kind of alter the way that I do things and who I was as a fighter. I'd always told myself that when I fight, it's not about winning or losing. It was about being exciting, being somebody that people wanted to watch fight and get out there and really have a good time and really just do what I'm passionate about. Winning and losing doesn't matter. It's just about doing what I love and expressing myself in the fight game. Well, my second fight was it was an awful performance. I found myself in positions that I had drilled hundreds of times, and finishes that were there tons and tons of times, and I just didn't pull the trigger on them. And what it really all boiled down to was I didn't go into that fight to win. I went into that fight not to lose. And I think that was when it really hit me, and I said, you know, maybe this just isn't for me anymore. It wasn't fun at all. The lead up to it wasn't as fun, and you know, the competition aspect of it wasn't fun just because of the pressure to succeed and the pressure to win just really sucked the passion out of it for me. Even though I won that fight, I remember going home and I made a Facebook post really apologizing to everybody for my performance because it was a boring fight. It's not exciting. My family has kind of a running joke that the only person that I was putting to sleep that night was the audience. And it's all in good fun. But at the same time, like I said, I want to be an exciting fighter. I want to be somebody that people, you know, want to watch. And so that fight really broke me down. And going home afterwards, and I've talked to my brother about this, and because I didn't give it my all, and because I held back a lot in that fight and didn't, you know, shoot the shots that were open, because of that fight felt like a loss, even though I won. Now, even though I was checked out and really didn't want to continue fighting, I thought that by fighting that guy again, because it was a close fight, I won 2 of the rounds, but in the 3rd he was pulling away. So I thought that by fighting him again and finishing him and really bringing my A game this next time, that I would somewhat be able to bring that passion back out of me. And we were scheduled to fight again on January 4th of 2014. We put all excuses aside. We decided, you know, this was going to be the weight. This was everything. And it was built up to be a big card, a big fight. It was called The Grudge. It was a rematch. And everybody in our town was looking forward to it. It was definitely going to be the biggest event that was ever held in that town. So obviously the pressure was more. There was more pressure there than the last time. However, I did feel like I was ready. Like, I trained hard. I was ready to go. And I felt like that killer instinct was back. And I really, like, even now talking about it, like, it gets me amped up because I just wanted to finish him. I wanted to get that back. And I wanted to prove to myself, like, that this is what I want to do and that the passion is still there. Unfortunately, on weigh-in day, he came in and he missed weight by 13 pounds. The commission said that we were too far apart in weight and that they would not let us compete against each other. I offered to re-weigh in with weights in my pocket and everything, but you know, they wouldn't allow it. So that fight was canceled, and it was at that point that I knew that this just wasn't for me anymore. I still love the game, but I wasn't passionate about the pressure and other things that come along with it. And so it was at that point that I decided I needed to find something new, in which I went to coaching football.